When you decide to change your life by starting to heal the wounds that affected how you show up in the world and starting to get to know yourself more by journaling and answering shadow questions that you found online in order to know the cause of your behaviors to heal it, there is this one mistake that I fell into in the past during this journey that made me feel stuck and confused for a very long time. And I want to share this mistake and the lessons that I learned from it. So if you are in that journey of trying to heal yourself, you will not fall into this mistake. And even if you did, you can notice it now and take action. And the mistake that I fell into was thinking that journaling will solve my problems and my wounds and these toxic and self-sabotage behaviors that I was doing, but I was wrong. And I know this sounds so obvious for some of you, but when you are in that process, sometimes you get so lost in it and you don't realize what I said, especially when you repeat these toxic or self-sabotage behaviors that you were doing in the past. And in that moment, you start thinking, oh, maybe I did not do enough journaling, or maybe there is something else that I did not discover that caused me repeating this mistake, and I need to journal more to find it out. And you keep digging and digging to the point you start going crazy and you start over analyzing each behavior you're doing and you become so self-conscious, and this can go as far as isolating yourself and stopping yourself from getting into relationships or friendships or going after opportunities because you did not fully heal yourself and you're not in a perfect state yet to go back and face those triggers and build a new life and reality for yourself. For example, for me in the past, when I lost all my friendships because they were not good for me, and I took some time to be alone and journal and doing the shadowing work, I was so naive to think that when I will go back and start looking for friends, then all of the old patterns are gone. But that wasn't the case at all. Some old patterns were still there, and when they happened, I was shocked and I thought, oh, maybe I did not do enough journaling. Let me go back and do more, and I would isolate myself and stop looking for friends because I thought I wasn't ready yet and perfect, and I would avoid any connection because of that. And that was so wrong because you will never be 100% perfect. Healing doesn't mean you will never repeat the same mistakes again at all after acknowledging them. It takes time to break these old patterns, and the journey is messy as hell. Healing is not just journaling. Don't get me wrong, I love journaling, but it is just one side of the conversation. And healing is about going outside and facing the triggers and putting yourself in the same situations that you fear in order to build new patterns and behaviors. And it is going to be scary at the beginning and confusing, but you have to do it and put yourself out there. For example, if you have an avoidant attachment style, you need to put yourself in the situations where you avoid and push people away and be aware of these thoughts that are going on in your mind at that moment that are telling you to run away and you are not ready yet, and leave this person and do the opposite of these thoughts even if it feels uncomfortable, and you will feel like two sides of your brain are fighting with each other because they are contradicting each other. Just do it. For me, I made this list where I wrote the old behaviors that I was doing in certain situations, and next to it I wrote the new behaviors that I want to do, so whenever I am put in those situations I try to do it. And even I try to put myself in the situations that trigger me because that's how I will grow. And by the way, you're not gonna succeed at it all the time, but what matters is you try to do it and not give up when you fail. And do not put these high expectations on yourself that one day you will be a perfectly healed person who doesn't get sad or angry or annoyed, because that is not the case. You will have ups and downs. And one example that I can give from my life, which is when I started this journey and I had moments where I got angry or annoyed, the first reaction was, OMG, I am not healed, I am broken, there is something wrong with me, why am I feeling these things? And I would feel ashamed for having those feelings, and I will tell myself I should be happy, and I would push them away instead of facing them and see why did I get annoyed and angry at the first place, and what is that telling me? We all have this romanticized image in our head of a healed person who is happy all the time and they feel peace all the time, and it seems like their life is fixed and they don't deal with any confusion, and we thrive to be like that. But we set ourselves up for failure because we start expecting perfection from ourselves in all areas of our lives, and we start punishing ourselves when we don't meet that perfection. And the same thing goes for trying to know yourself. Sometimes you get so deep in it that you get way confused compared when you started, because you keep thinking about who you are and you stop living to figure that out and build experiences that will help you grow as a person and give you a glimpse of the answer that keeps changing the more you grow. This journey is a lifetime thing. It is so easy to get caught in this cycle of trying to think about who you are and all of the things that influenced you in your life, and sometimes it gives you the illusion that you have to stop everything and go get to know yourself first, and from the information that you will get, you will start living, and everything in your life will fall into a place, and all of your life problems will get solved, and you will never get another identity crisis because you will have a 100% control over your identity. And don't get me wrong, I believe it is important to take some time off and take a step back from everything for some period of time, but when that process starts being used as an excuse to not follow or do some certain things that you want to do because of fear and uncertainty that comes with it, and you take the excuse of I don't know who I am yet to do it, and you close yourself because it is uncomfortable to do the thing. And if you are listening to this and you feel like you relate to this, I think it is worth taking that into consideration and to start getting yourself out there and live. Sometimes we can get caught up in these old beliefs and the past traumas where we keep writing about them so many times for so long that makes it hard to detach from them and move on, because it's all what you keep thinking about. But how long are you gonna stay stuck in that cycle where you keep thinking this happened to me, that's why I am like this, and this happened to me and this caused me to behave like this, and you keep focusing only on the cause and you forget about the action that you need to take to change your behavior instead of just identifying them. And you can get to a very dark place when you start picking yourself apart and thinking you are a bad person and a bigot when you confront and discover this dark side that you have and the mistakes that you made in your relationships and your life, and you start thinking you are an evil person and you start hating on yourself and being mean to yourself because you think if you are mean to yourself then you will hold yourself accountable and you will never repeat it, and you will punish yourself for doing that to have this internal peace that your bad deeds were punished and justice was achieved. But surprisingly, it has an opposite effect because you enter this self-hatred cycle where you can end up identifying with those mistakes and those past behaviors and think that that is who you are at your core, and those things that happen to you are a part of your identity, but that is not true. Every day is a chance to create who you are, and who you are is not just dependent on the past, because when you just only rely on the past to know who you are, you can end up with never actually knowing who you are, because you put yourself in this box and labels that can stop you from expanding and growing and changing and trying different things and move on from the past. This is a lifetime journey and every day is a chance to change. Yes, these experiences that we had in the past are a great material to reflect on them, to know how we are behaving and what we need to change, But this doesn't mean it is the whole picture. You will never have a moment where you are like, I fully know who I am, because you keep changing and there is some certain things you will never notice. I did have this misconception myself when I started this healing journey, where I was desperately digging in the files of the past in order to find labels I can give to myself to have control over my identity and have labels to hold into. When doubts started rising and change was coming on its way. And this led me to identify with some certain labels that were not serving me at all. And they were stopping me from expanding and changing, and I was torturing myself for something that happened in the past, and I was stopping myself from enjoying the present because all what I was thinking about is who I am, and I was trying to find meaning behind every single thing that I was doing, and I was over analyzing everything, and that is so tiring. Don't let this obsession with finding who you are and healing yourself stop you from experiencing life and trying things and building relationships. You will never be perfect, and you will never get to the final destination where you have all the answers and you are a perfectly healed person with no flaws and you don't get triggered by things. Healing is about how do you deal with these moments of triggers and the mess that you are in. There will always be things that will trigger you, and you have to make peace with that. I hope that this was helpful and I did not ramble way too much. Tell me in the comments, do you agree or disagree with me with what I said? Do you have something that you want to add that I forgot to talk about? Tell me your opinions. I would love to know them. And also, I started a Threads account where I post some motivational quotes every single day. You can go follow me there if you want to. And also, take care.